Well, hello peeps, how's it going? Hillbilly Halfwit. What I'm doing today, I'm walking around, just fed the sheep. I'm starting to wean them off the cake and stuff now, because there's more grass about. I'm just going to check, because they're outside at the moment, most of the time in night. I'm just going to check that they haven't lambed in any of the corners of the fields or anything, and there's nothing having any trouble. That's why I prefer to have them inside. I know it's a lot more bother and a lot more work when you have them in the building at night, but it's more natural outside, to be fair, isn't it? But, especially with the weather we've been having. Oh, it's interesting. Where's it gone? There's a buzzard's nest up here above me. Let me just turn this round. Hold on. Or a red kite's nest. It's up there somewhere. You can see it from a bit further away. I'll show you one a bit further away. And basically, a couple of years back, we had a load of ducks then, and we had some young ducklings, and we couldn't understand where they were all going. And lo and behold, walking around here, and I see some bones on the floor. The bloody thing had been taken about the yard. It had been diving down and taking them all, and all the bones of the young ducklings were at the bottom of the nest. So you can't win sometimes, can you? That's nature though, I suppose. Right, what are we going to talk about today? Well, what we're talking about today is Prince Harry. Now, sorry, I've got to keep looking as I'm going. He has really got himself into some bother now. I remember him when he was a young un, and he looks just like James Hewitt, doesn't he? Absolute spitting image. And we all used to say he's definitely James Hewitt's son. He's a spitting image of him. But never mind, the royal family seemed to treat him like normal, and he went off to, was it Iraq or Afghanistan, flying them helicopters. Very, very good soldier, good lad. And of course he's done a few daft things like we all do when we're growing up. I really liked him, to be honest. And then he set up that charity, or helped set up that charity for the people who got hurt in wars and stuff. What they call it? It's called games. Sorry, it's going up my head at the moment. Done really a lot of good work for the soldiers and things. But he met that girl, and there's one or two things happens when you meet somebody who's famous. You either go, it makes you a better person. You don't have to be famous, do you? I met my missus 25, 30 years ago, and she's been good for me, to be honest with you, because I was off the rails a bit before. But it's been opposite for him, and it's all gone downhill since then. Now, you can blame the press, you can blame a lot of things if you want, but I'm afraid she's used him a bit as a trophy instead of as a person who she's fallen in love with, I think, personally. It's sad to see it happen. Now, he gave an interview yesterday where he was trying to get his security back and all that palaver. But what has happened to him, because he's turned his back on the royals, whether you like him or not, there's no way back then. And especially when he said, I'd like to reconcile with my father, which is the king, but because of security concerns, I can't. Well, the security concerns are that he's blabbing all the time. Now you have to remember, whatever you think of Charles and that, he's talking to the Prime Minister all the time. Very, very top secret stuff. And they can't trust Harry anymore. Because everything that is said goes in a book, goes in the paper. And if it doesn't happen now, it'll happen in 5 years' time. He's untrustworthy now. He has gone untrustworthy. And once your trust goes, you've had it really. Even for people that don't like you. If they trust you, you won't do something to them, you'll still be okay. As far as I worked for a couple of people, a couple of bosses that couldn't stand me. But they did trust me, to be fair. And I trusted them. My wages were always there. And when we were in work, we just got on with the job, and they trusted me to do my job. Or work as hard as they could anyway. So you don't have to be best mates with anybody, as long as they trust you. Now, I think this is what has happened to Harry. His trust is gone. The trust is completely gone because anything they tell him is being blabbered into the press. And when it's your family stuff, you shouldn't do that, should you? Like, you imagine if it was just nothing to do with the royals now. You imagine if you would, all families have rows and things like that, and have certain problems that not many people would like to know about. And if one of your family members just blabbed something and started up some rumour that was totally untrue, it's horrible, isn't it? It really is horrible. So I can see he's screwed. He's completely screwed now. He's had it because his trust has gone, and he won't come back. I don't even think he'd come back even if him and her split up. Yeah, have a look. I'll just turn you around. Look how the grass is coming now. I put a bit of fertiliser on this a few days ago, and it's just made such a difference. Look. Yeah, we're twins over there. Yeah, so I think that's one thing for... I'm not one of these person with a huge amount of friends. I've got some very good friends that I'll always be friends with, a handful of them, but I'm not one of these people that runs around trying to be everybody's best mate. That's not me. And I got about 4 or 5 really close key friends, and I'd never drop them in the shit. And I'd always help them out when they're in trouble. But what he's doing, he's even dropping his mates and stuff in it, isn't it? And it's terrible, you know. Yeah, well, that is a good lesson for people there. Good lesson. Doesn't matter how much money you got. Doesn't matter who you are, if you're some major celebrity or some big shot. If nobody can trust you, you're no good, really. You know, of course it goes the other way with some things. Lots of these big scandals we've seen happening around the UK the last decade have been with people not talking too much. So, oh, that's good. Nothing wrong at the moment. And I think if they'd have got a bit more morals, the scandals always seem to be the cover-up afterwards to me, because if somebody had just said at the time, that's a bit, say with this grooming gang thing, if somebody had said at the time, the police or the council in that area, look, we've got a problem here, there's people here doing stuff to some young white girls, we need to nip this in the bud now, there wouldn't have been half the problem. Well, wouldn't have been 90% of the problem. So then the cover-up went on, didn't it? And same with that post office scandal. most of us realised that them postmasters weren't wrong uns. There might have been a couple. But I remember listening to all this lot on the BBC and all the other channels. People going to prison and things, and I thought, that's not right. Normal working class people like that aren't like that. They're not bent like that, I gotta say. Especially not some people in charge of a post office. You get some of the best businesses and straight people that you could have, really. So I knew there was something wrong, but there we go, the cover up again. Then you had that infected blood scandal that happened years ago. Same thing with that. All the BBC and the mainstream media covered it all up. And we all knew what was going on. They were putting all this blood into basically a big cauldron from America. So they were getting blood off people. The people who were donating. And then they were doing something to it and mixing it all up. And then they were giving this to haemophiliacs. But the trouble was, some of the people they were getting blood from had got AIDS or whatever. And then it gave everybody who was an haemophiliac having this blood AIDS as well. And lots of them people died. Hell of a lot of people. I don't think we'll never know how much. But that was again, the cover up again is bigger than the first thing. What should have happened, they said, oh, look out. There's a problem here, they're sorted. But it doesn't happen anymore because their first thing is to cover it all up. And with this thing with Harry again, going back to that, his first thing is to blab about his family, and there's no way back. Because he should have just gone to his father, even though he's the king or whatever, and said, look, we need to sort this out, and not blab to the press, and not put it in his book, and everything would have been sorted, wouldn't it? So here's some of my yows. Look, is one with a limp there, we'll sort out. Remember, these lambs are only a few weeks old. So I've used the lambs. It's only the last couple of years I changed to a May lambing time. Sorry, January, February, March. January, February, March, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry. I used to do most of the lambing on January, really, because we used to do it 3 times a year. So you'd have small little sections. Sometime there would be one little block in November, one in January, and then one at the normal time around now. And then they do that continually then, so you'd be sort of lambing all through the year, really. I used to like it, but because the weather's a little bit suspect these days, we had to change a bit. But there we are. So, hope you enjoyed the little chat. I think Harry's had it. There's no way back for him. And I think even if he leaves his missus or the other way around, they still won't trust him with anything. So, there we are. Thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe down below. All the best. Gaz.